There's something about her that pulls you in. The curve of her smile, the way her eyes flicker when she looks away. But it's more than physical. You feel something when you're near her, and yet you don't know what to do with it. You don't understand why her silence hurts more than her words, why her touch lingers in your mind long after she's gone. You've been told that women are complicated, emotional, irrational. But what if I told you she's also biological, powerful, and deeply patterned, and you've simply never been taught how to see it? As a man, you've probably learned to measure yourself by what you can control, your success, your confidence, your physique. But women, their bodies don't operate on control. They operate on rhythm, emotion, sensation. And every part of her, from her skin to her hormones, speaks a language most men never bother to learn. You think you lost her because you weren't enough. But maybe you just never understood how her body tells the truth before her mouth ever does. This isn't a game. It's not manipulation. It's deeper. And if you're ready to understand her, not just to get her, but to truly see her, this will change everything. Let's talk about 6 psychological truths about a woman's body that every man needs to know. But no one is telling you. Her skin remembers everything. And I'm not just talking about physical touch. I'm talking about the way you made her feel the moment your hand met hers, the silence between your fingers when you held her without words, or the electricity that ran through her body when you gently brushed her back. A woman's skin is not just flesh. It's not just softness, it's memory, emotional memory, and too many men touch her without ever realizing the weight of what their hands are saying. You see, women don't just experience touch the way men do. Her skin is more sensitive. She has more nerve endings in certain places, not just for pleasure, but for emotion. Her body feels deeper. Her nervous system is tuned to safety, intimacy, presence. So when you touch her, even if it's small, even if it's just a passing graze, she feels your energy. And if your energy is cold, distracted, or entitled, her body closes. Not because she's playing games, but because her biology doesn't trust you yet. And this is where most men get it wrong. You think she doesn't want you because she pulled away. But maybe her skin just didn't feel you show up. Maybe she sensed that you were rushing, touching to get something, not to give something. And maybe that made her body feel like a transaction, not a connection. But when you slow down, when you touch her like you're listening, like you're there, everything shifts. A gentle hand on the back, given with intention, fingers through her hair that pause to feel her breathe, holding her hand without squeezing, without needing, just being. These are the moments she never forgets. Because to a woman, being touched with presence feels like being seen. Like someone finally sees her beyond the body. Like you're not just touching her skin, you're acknowledging her soul. And that is rare. That is sacred. Some men will sleep with her and vanish from her memory, but one man who held her face gently, who kissed her forehead without trying to win, who touched her like time didn't exist, will live in her nervous system for the rest of her life. Not because of how attractive he was, but because of how safe he made her feel. You want to stand out to a woman, don't just say the right things. Be the man whose hands speak louder than words. Be the man whose touch says, "You're not an object. You're a temple." Her skin remembers the ones who didn't rush. And if you want her body to trust you, if you want her to let go in ways she's never let go before, don't focus on getting her naked. Focus on making her feel safe while fully clothed. That's when you'll know her skin has chosen you. Most men think she's changing her mind. That one day she wants you, and the next day she's suddenly cold, distant, confused. You start questioning yourself. Was it something you said? Was the intimacy not good enough? Why did she kiss you like you were the only man in the world, only to vanish into herself a few days later? You take it personally. You blame yourself. But what no one ever taught you is this: her words may be confused, but her hormones are telling the truth. A woman's body is in constant motion, not chaotic, rhythmic. Every 28 days, like a silent symphony, her hormones shift gears. She's not moody, she's cycling. She's not unpredictable. She's tuned into biology so deeply that even she can't always put it into words. During ovulation, her estrogen peaks. She feels alive, magnetic, sensual. Her confidence skyrockets. She wants connection. Her body quite literally becomes more open. Her voice softens. Her eyes glow. And if you meet her in this phase, you'll feel it. She'll lean in, laugh louder, flirt back. You'll think she's falling for you. But wait, because just a week or so later, her body starts to prepare for something else. Rest, reflection, withdrawal. Her progesterone rises. Her energy turns inward. Her body is no longer seeking attention, it's seeking protection. She may feel overwhelmed, emotionally heavy, easily irritated. Not because you did something wrong, but because her system is trying to regulate itself. And this is where many men panic. They think she's ghosting them. They assume she lost interest. But if you had known her rhythm, you'd realize she's not lost. She's just retreating to find emotional safety. You need to understand this: a woman's body doesn't lie. Her hormones are more consistent than her thoughts. And when you stop judging her reactions and start observing her patterns, you'll become the kind of man who sees her even when she doesn't have the words. If she's quiet, don't chase her. Hold space. If she's emotional, don't fix her, ground her. If she's distant, don't panic. Let her return without punishment. Because the man who honors her cycle becomes the one she bonds with most deeply, not because he was perfect, but because he made her feel understood in a world that constantly calls her irrational. She doesn't need you to be a doctor. She doesn't expect you to track every hormone, but she does need you to notice, to realize that the way she holds your hand today might feel different from last week. And that doesn't mean her feelings are fake. It means her body is guiding her through emotional waves most men never learn to ride. The truth is, if you can't love her in her stillness, you don't deserve her in her fire. And if you keep chasing what's consistent, you'll miss the beauty of everything that's real. You ever looked into her eyes and thought, she's smiling, but something's off? You felt it, didn't you? That disconnect, that little flicker of sadness behind her laughter, that second of hesitation when she looked away too quickly. And yet you ignored it. You told yourself you were overthinking. You convinced yourself everything was fine because she said it was. But deep down you knew. You knew her mouth wasn't telling you the full story because her eyes were speaking a language her words couldn't hide. A woman can perform with her words. She can say all the right things, nod at the right moments, keep her voice warm and playful. But her body doesn't lie. And her pupils are the one part of her that betray her every time. Her pupils dilate when she's emotionally stimulated. Not just when she's aroused sexually, but emotionally, spiritually, when she feels truly seen, when you say something that touches her core, when you show up with unexpected presence. Her body responds. Her eyes widen, not because she's trying to, but because her nervous system is opening without her permission. But here's what most men miss. They're too busy watching her lips to notice her eyes. Too focused on her approval to see her truth. And so they walk right past the signals that matter most. Because her eyes, they hold the truth even when her mind isn't ready to admit it. Sometimes she'll laugh, but her pupils will shrink. That's fear. Sometimes she'll pull away, but her pupils stay open. That's vulnerability. That's her body saying, please don't leave. I'm just scared to stay. But you won't notice any of that if you're only listening to what she says. If you only take her words at face value, you'll keep missing the truth hiding in her gaze. A woman's eyes are windows, yes, but only to the man who knows how to look without control, without entitlement, without rushing to conclusions. And let me say this, you don't earn her heart by catching her at her most seductive. You earn her heart when you hold her gaze at her most uncertain. When her pupils flicker with doubt and you stay anyway. When you notice the tear she didn't shed, the story she didn't tell, the question she was too afraid to ask. And instead of pressing, you make her feel safe enough to eventually offer it. Real intimacy isn't built through flirting. It's built through attunement, through stillness, through noticing the one part of her that always tells the truth, even when she's pretending. So if you want to know where you stand with a woman, stop asking her to explain. Look into her eyes, and not just when things are good, look when she's unsure, when she's quiet, when the energy shifts, because her pupils will tell you what her pride never will. She either feels safe with you or she doesn't. And her eyes will always tell on her, you think you hit it well that moment your mind drifted. Maybe you were still staring at her, still saying all the right things. But she felt it. She didn't say it. She probably smiled. But inside, her body tensed, her breath shortened, her spirit, even if just slightly, backed away. Because she could feel it, you weren't really there. You were physically in front of her, but emotionally somewhere else. And what you didn't realize is that a woman's body has been trained since childhood to detect absence. Not just the absence of people, but the absence of presence. She knows when someone's touching her without feeling her. She knows when someone's talking but not seeing her. She knows when the man in front of her is only half alive. You might think she's sensitive, maybe even dramatic. But this is not drama. It's nervous system intelligence. Her body is designed to protect her. And when you're not fully present, her body senses danger. Not because you're bad, but because presence is safety. And when a man loses that, she retreats emotionally, physically, sometimes permanently. It happens in subtle ways. You try to kiss her, but she hesitates. You try to hold her, and she goes stiff. You think she's being difficult or that she's not into you anymore. But that's not always it. Sometimes she's just responding to the version of you that checked out 5 minutes ago. The version that's still thinking about your ex, your ego, your insecurities, your need to perform instead of connect. She doesn't need you to be perfect, but she does need you to be real. A woman feels most alive with a man who is anchored in himself, a man whose presence doesn't float around the room looking for validation, a man who listens with his eyes, speaks with his body, touches with awareness, because when you show up fully, her body relaxes, her shoulders drop, her voice changes, her guard lowers. And that's when real intimacy begins. It's not about being smooth. It's not about alpha. It's about being here in this moment with nothing to prove, nothing to hide. That's what earns her trust. So the next time you're with her, ask yourself, am I really present? Am I holding space for her to unfold? Or am I just rushing toward an outcome, pretending to be connected while my mind is somewhere else? Because she knows. Even if she never says it out loud, she knows. And when she pulls away, it's not because you weren't attractive, it's because you weren't available. Not emotionally, not energetically. So if you want her to open, you have to open first. Not your words, not your charm, but your presence. Be where your feet are. Be in your body, be in your breath. Because that's where connection lives. And her body is watching, even when her eyes aren't. Have you ever really listened to her voice? I mean, really listened. Not just to what she's saying, but how she's saying it. Because most men don't realize this, but a woman's voice will change depending on how safe she feels in your presence. It's not something she consciously controls. It's something her body does on its own. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss one of the most powerful signals of emotional truth. When she's guarded, her voice is different. It's higher, sharper, more rehearsed. You might think she's bubbly or that she's just being polite. But what's really happening is her nervous system is still scanning you. She hasn't decided if you're safe yet, if she can let her walls down. So her voice tenses up. It pushes outward. It performs. It protects. But the moment she starts to feel safe, her voice drops. It slows. It softens. She starts speaking from a deeper place, from her body instead of her mask. You'll notice she pauses more. She lets herself be quiet between words. She laughs differently, not performative, not loud just to impress you, but soft and real like a child who finally feels at home. And that shift is sacred because most men never get there. They meet her in her guarded state and think that's her. But it's not. That's the version of her that the world has trained her to show, the version that's charming, likable, untouchable. But it's not the real her. The real her speaks differently. She doesn't rush. She doesn't force. She doesn't fear silence. And if you're listening closely, you'll feel it. It won't happen right away. It won't be obvious. But maybe one night you'll say something that touches her soul. Not a line, not a trick, just truth. And she'll go quiet. Then she'll respond in a voice you've never heard before, breathier, warmer, more vulnerable. That's not seduction. That's surrender. You didn't impress her. You reached her. You want to know if she trusts you? Don't look at how close she sits. Don't measure it by how quickly she kisses you. Listen to her tone. Does she still sound like she's performing for the world? Or does she sound like she finally exhaled? Her voice is a map. It tells you exactly where she is inside. And when a woman feels truly safe, emotionally, spiritually, her entire vocal system changes. It's not magic, it's biology. Her parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible